There's something about you that people sense the moment you walk into a room. It's not in your clothes, your posture, or even your words. It's in your energy, a subtle but powerful frequency that true empaths carry. I've spent years studying the unconscious, and what I've uncovered is that this invisible aura doesn't just make you magnetic. It also makes you vulnerable. See, true empaths don't just feel emotions. They radiate what I call the wounded healer frequency, an energetic signature born from pain but transformed into a deep, resonant power. This energy doesn't arise from simple kindness or innate goodness. It's something far more complex, a kind of psychological alchemy forged through suffering, reflection, and transformation. In my research notes, I described how this empathic aura operates across multiple dimensions. It has the power to heal others through mere presence, but it also acts like a magnet for both light and darkness. It can elevate others or consume you, depending on how conscious you are of it. And that's the key, because when empaths don't understand their own energy, that same light becomes dangerous. It attracts psychological parasites and drains your vitality from the inside out. So today, we're going to dive deep into the invisible field that surrounds empaths, into the way it operates, and into how understanding it can turn you from a wounded healer into a sovereign one. Because here's the truth modern psychology rarely admits: your empathic aura isn't something you were born with. It's something your psyche created to help you survive. The alchemy of survival. I've written before that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But for empaths, that journey begins with understanding why you became so sensitive in the first place. It wasn't random. It was adaptive. Empaths often emerge from childhoods where emotional survival depended on constant awareness. You had to read micro-expressions before you even understood language. You learned to sense emotional storms before they erupted. You became hypervigilant because your safety relied on it. And here's what I noticed that most therapists overlook. This mechanism didn't just help you survive trauma. It rewired your brain. Your mirror neurons became more active. Your limbic system more reactive. Your entire nervous system evolved into an emotional antenna. You learned to detect subtleties that most people never notice. Modern neuroscience is finally catching up to what I intuited decades ago. Research on highly sensitive people shows that empaths process sensory and emotional data more deeply in the brain regions linked to empathy, awareness, and reflection. But my insight went beyond the neurological. It entered the energetic. This heightened sensitivity creates an actual field around you that others can sense. That field, the empathic aura, acts as a kind of psychological radar. It doesn't just receive emotional energy, it transmutes it, energetic archaeology. When an empath walks into a room, something remarkable happens. On a subconscious level, your energy begins what I call energetic archaeology, an excavation of hidden emotional truths. You pick up what people are really feeling, not what they're showing. Your aura starts decoding the unspoken, revealing the grief, rage, or fear others bury. I've broken this down into 3 stages. Stage 1, the energetic scan. Your aura automatically tunes into what I call feeling-toned complexes, the emotional undercurrents that drive people's behavior. You can sense tension before anyone says a word, detect dishonesty masked as politeness, and feel sadness behind a forced smile. You're essentially scanning for emotional data beneath conscious awareness. Stage 2, the unconscious absorption. Because your psyche learned to be permeable in order to survive, you don't just notice these emotions, you absorb them. I called this participation mystique, an unconscious identification with another's emotional state. It's as if your energy field merges with theirs, taking on their burdens as your own. Stage 3, the alchemical process. Here's where it gets profound. Your empathic nervous system doesn't stop at absorption. It begins transmutation. Through what I've called the transcendent function, you unconsciously transform raw emotional material into wisdom, clarity, and healing potential. This is why people feel better after spending time with you, even if you didn't say or do anything. Your aura literally processes their emotional residue and reflects back a purified version of it. But there's a crucial catch. This alchemical process only works when you're conscious of it. When you're unaware, you stop being an alchemist and start being an emotional sponge. Instead of transforming energy, you store it and eventually drown in it. The magnetism of archetypes. Your empathic aura doesn't just attract individuals. It attracts archetypes, universal patterns of human behavior that play out through the people you meet. I identified several of them during my studies: the wounded child. Those who carry deep, unhealed childhood trauma sense your capacity to hold pain without judgment. They're drawn to you because your presence feels like the unconditional love they never received. The shadow projector. These are people who can't face certain aspects of themselves, so they unconsciously assign them to others. When they meet you, your energy becomes a mirror for their repressed emotions. You end up carrying feelings that aren't even yours, the energy vampire. Perhaps the most dangerous of all, these individuals have lost touch with their own empathy. Instead, they feed on others' emotional energy. They create crises, drama, or guilt to keep you plugged into their energy field. But not all who are drawn to your aura are draining. The conscious seeker. People doing their own inner work recognize your aura as a mirror for growth. They come not to take, but to resonate. When you interact, both of you evolve, the authentic self. These are individuals who are ready to live with emotional honesty. Your energy gives them permission to be real, to feel without shame. The challenge for empaths is what I call archetypal confusion. Without discernment, it's nearly impossible to tell who has come to heal and who has come to feed. You might pour endless energy into someone who isn't ready to grow, mistaking need for transformation. That's when your gift turns into exhaustion. The wounded healer constellation. If you've noticed that you attract both deeply spiritual people and deeply troubled ones, you've experienced what I call the wounded healer constellation, the dual nature of the empathic aura. It carries both the power to heal and the vulnerability to be consumed. Here's the deeper mechanism behind it. Your aura doesn't heal by giving energy. It heals by resonance. When someone carrying unresolved trauma comes near you, your field activates what I call constellation activation. Their inner healer awakens in response to yours. It's a mirroring process. You're showing them that it's possible to transform pain into wisdom. But there's a hidden danger here. The wounded healer can only activate healing in others to the extent that they've done their own shadow work. If you're still carrying unintegrated pain, your aura leaks it. Instead of inspiring others to heal, you unconsciously invite them to reenact your wounds. That's why empaths so often attract narcissists, manipulators, or perpetual victims. It's not because you deserve pain, it's because your unhealed wounds are broadcasting a frequency that says, "This energy is familiar. Come find me." Until those wounds are integrated, your aura keeps repeating the pattern. I wrote once, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." For empaths, this truth is amplified. The people who drain you are mirroring the ways you drain yourself. The ones who reject your love are reflecting your struggle to receive it, conscious suffering and transformation. The path to sovereignty begins with what I call conscious suffering, the willingness to fully feel your own pain, so it can transform into wisdom instead of staying as an open wound others exploit. When you engage your suffering consciously, something shifts. Your energy refines. Your aura transitions from the wounded healer frequency to the sovereign healer frequency. You still feel deeply, but now your empathy is grounded in wholeness, not brokenness. You no longer absorb to survive. You sense to understand. You no longer lose energy to others, you circulate it with awareness. At this stage, your aura functions like a psychological mirror. Conscious people feel peaceful around you because your field reflects their own inner light. They feel seen, understood, accepted. But unconscious people, they often feel uneasy or defensive. Your presence mirrors their shadow, the parts of themselves they'd rather not face, and that reflection triggers them. That's why empaths often encounter such polarizing reactions. Some are drawn to you as if you're the only light they can find, while others feel threatened by your very existence. You've become a mirror, and not everyone likes what they see in it. The mirror effect. When someone who's doing their inner work meets your empathic aura, they experience what I call the conscious mirror response. They feel uplifted, calm, and inspired. They might tell you, "I feel so grounded when I'm around you," or "You remind me who I really am." These people nourish you because the exchange is balanced. They reflect your light back to you. But when someone who's avoiding their shadow meets you, the opposite happens. This is the unconscious mirror response. They might criticize you for being too sensitive or too emotional. They might provoke drama or try to lower your frequency to match theirs. These encounters are draining because they're resisting the very healing your presence offers. And then there's the predatory mirror response, the most manipulative kind. Energy vampires recognize your emotional processing power and unconsciously decide to make you their regulator. They trauma dump, create chaos, or play the perpetual victim so you'll keep them stable, but what they're really doing is outsourcing their emotional labor to you. Understanding these mirror responses is vital. Setting boundaries isn't just about protecting yourself. It's about refusing to carry someone else's unprocessed pain. When you do, you're not rejecting them. You're inviting them to face themselves. You are not just processing emotions on a personal level. You are tuned into something much larger, what I've called the collective unconscious. This is the shared psychic field that contains humanity's memories, fears, and longings. Every empath, whether they realize it or not, acts as a kind of collective antenna, receiving and transmuting these emotional frequencies. Have you ever felt inexplicably sad during a world tragedy, or restless during times of social upheaval? Have you ever entered a crowded space and suddenly felt waves of exhaustion, anxiety, or grief that seemed to come from nowhere? That's not imagination, it's resonance. Your empathic aura is sensitive enough to pick up on the collective shadow, the parts of humanity's psyche that most people can't bear to face. This connection is both your greatest gift and your greatest challenge. It gives you access to wisdom that transcends individual understanding, but it also exposes you to emotional content that isn't yours to carry. You feel the pulse of the world through your nervous system, and unless you learn to discern between what's yours and what's theirs, you risk collapsing under the weight of emotions that were never meant to be yours in the first place. The collective empaths serve an essential role in collective healing. You are like emotional barometers for humanity's weather, picking up subtle energetic changes before they erupt into full-blown crises. Wars, political unrest, environmental catastrophes, you sense these before they unfold. It's as if your aura whispers, "Something is stirring in the field." But here's the danger. Without awareness, this sensitivity can turn into psychic inflation, the unconscious belief that you are responsible for healing everyone. That's not your role. You are not here to carry the pain of the world on your back. You are here to illuminate it, to feel it consciously, and to model what it looks like to stay grounded in the midst of it. Because when you mistake the world's suffering for your own, you drain yourself and lose your center. Empathic sovereignty begins when you recognize that your sensitivity connects you to the collective, but does not make you responsible for it. Step 1. Acknowledge your energetic nature. The first step towards sovereignty is recognition. You cannot integrate what you deny. Most empaths wander through life unaware that they are operating on a completely different frequency than most people. They think their exhaustion is weakness, their emotional overload a flaw. But the truth is, you are processing information through energetic channels as well as emotional ones. I call this differentiated perception, a refined form of awareness that allows you to feel the subtlest emotional cues in the environment. It's not imagination, it's intelligence. Your nervous system evolved to notice the invisible. Start tracking your energy levels like a scientist. Who lifts you up and who drains you? Which places feel nourishing and which feel heavy? Which activities leave you charged versus depleted? This is what I call energy accounting. Once you start noticing these fluctuations, you gain control over where your energy flows. You stop being reactive and start becoming deliberate. Step 2. Understand your archetypal patterns. Every empath carries what I call archetypal imprints, patterns of behavior and belief formed deep within the psyche. One of the most common is the caretaker complex, the unconscious belief that your value comes from fixing, soothing, or rescuing others. Ask yourself, do I feel guilty when I'm not helping someone? Do I attract people who always seem to need saving? Do I take on emotional labor that isn't mine to do? If you answered yes, it's not because you're weak. It's because your archetype is running on autopilot. The way to transform this is through what I call active imagination, a method of dialoguing with the archetypes within you. Instead of rejecting your inner caretaker, you sit with it. You ask, what are you afraid will happen if I stop fixing everyone? You listen. You let that inner voice speak. And as you do, it transforms. It moves from compulsion to conscious choice, from burden to blessing. The moment you stop identifying with the archetype, you reclaim power from it. You stop being the healer and start embodying healing itself. Step 3. Reclaim your energetic boundaries. For empaths, boundaries are not just physical or verbal. They're energetic. They're not walls, but membranes, living filters that let love in and keep toxicity out. Most people think boundaries mean saying no. But for empaths, it begins long before words. It starts with sensing when your field is being invaded, when your aura is leaking, when someone's emotions start to seep into your nervous system. When that happens, you must practice what I call psychological hygiene. Just as you wash your hands after being in public, you must learn to cleanse your energy after emotional exposure. That might mean meditating, grounding in nature, journaling, or simply sitting in silence until your energy feels like yours again. One of my patients once told me, I thought boundaries meant I was selfish. Now I realize they're how I stay sane. And that's exactly it. Boundaries aren't barriers to connection. They are what make connection possible without self-erasure. Step 4. Activate conscious empathy. The final stage of empathic mastery is what I call conscious empathy, the ability to feel with others without losing yourself in them. It's empathy that serves awareness, not compulsion. Conscious empathy means you can hold space for someone's pain without absorbing it. You can listen deeply without merging energetically. You can love without rescuing. It's a fine balance between compassion and detachment, a dance between the heart and the mind. To reach this state, you must develop what I've called the transcendent function, the ability to hold opposites without collapsing into one side. You can be open and protected, sensitive and strong, loving and discerning, all at once. When you achieve this, empathy stops being a burden and becomes a form of mastery. Your aura begins to stabilize. It no longer oscillates with the moods of those around you. It becomes a radiant field, contained, clear, and grounded in sovereignty. The birth of the sovereign empath. When this transformation occurs, the difference is unmistakable. The sovereign empath carries all the perceptive gifts of the wounded healer, but now those gifts are directed by consciousness instead of survival instincts. Your energy shifts from leaking to radiating. You no longer feel responsible for everyone's emotions. Instead, you inspire others to take responsibility for their own. You stop enabling emotional dependence and start activating empowerment. People still feel safe around you, but now, instead of leaning on your strength, they awaken their own. That's the subtle magic of sovereignty. Your presence no longer says, "Let me heal you." It says, "You can heal yourself." This shift changes everything. Energy vampires begin to lose interest because your aura no longer emits the frequency of availability. Those who thrive on drama or chaos find your calm unappealing. You start attracting people who have done their own inner work. People who can meet you as equals in consciousness. These relationships feel different. They're mutual, balanced, and nourishing. You give without depletion and receive without guilt. Conversations flow instead of drain. Connection becomes growth, not labor. Effortless healing through presence. In this sovereign state, healing happens naturally, without effort or intention. Your aura becomes a living transmission of integration. You don't need to fix or advise anyone. Simply being in your presence invites others to align with their own wholeness. Why? Because your energy field now resonates at the frequency of completion. It silently communicates, it's safe to be whole. People around you begin to release resistance, not because you intervene, but because your presence gives permission. This is the final stage of empathic transformation. You no longer heal from your wounds. You heal from your wholeness. You no longer give from depletion. You give from overflow. You no longer mirror pain. You mirror potential. The new frequency of attraction. When your aura stabilizes at this level, the types of people you attract completely shift. Gone are the ones who seek rescue. Instead, you draw in what I call individuated souls, those who have walked through their own fire and emerged aware. They resonate with your energy because they recognize it. These connections feel like relief. You can breathe around these people. You can exist without explaining, justify without defending. The relationship becomes a sacred exchange, two sovereign beings amplifying each other's light. And as your field strengthens, something else happens. You start radiating beyond the personal. Your energy begins to affect entire groups, families, even communities. I've seen it again and again. One sovereign empath entering a space can shift the emotional tone of everyone present, not by effort, but by resonance. That is the power of conscious energy. That is the power of the sovereign empath. Once you begin to embody this new frequency, you'll notice that life itself starts reorganizing around your energy. The people, opportunities, and experiences that match your sovereignty will begin to appear naturally. You won't have to chase healing anymore. It will unfold around you like gravity responding to mass. This is the radiant field of the sovereign empath, a state of consciousness that no longer leaks energy into others' case but radiates integration and authenticity. And when you live from this state, healing becomes effortless, not because you're doing anything, but because you've become the embodiment of balance. Healing from wholeness. When you move beyond the wounded healer phase, something extraordinary happens. You stop seeing yourself as a rescuer and start seeing yourself as a mirror for possibility. Instead of saying, "Let me fix your pain," your presence says you are capable of transforming it. Your aura becomes a field of permission, a space that shows others it's safe to face themselves. In my private journals, I wrote that healing happens through resonance, not sacrifice. When you stand in your own wholeness, others unconsciously adjust to match your vibration. You don't pull them up. Your coherence naturally invites them higher. People may say things like, "I don't know why, but I always feel calm around you," or "Being with you reminds me that I'm okay." That is the sovereign empath's silent medicine, effortless transformation through frequency alignment. But here's the critical truth. This doesn't happen through self-denial or self-sacrifice. It happens through self-integration. Every wound you've faced, every heartbreak you've endured, every moment you felt too sensitive, these experiences have refined your empathy into wisdom. When you accept all of yourself, your aura stabilizes. When you love all of yourself, your energy becomes untouchable. The end of emotional entanglement. In this state, old attraction patterns dissolve. Energy vampires, emotional parasites, and manipulators begin to fall away. Not because you've rejected them, but because they no longer find resonance in your field. Your energy no longer broadcasts availability for draining, and in their place, new archetypes begin to emerge. You start meeting conscious mirrors, people who reflect your growth back to you instead of feeding on it. Relationships feel lighter, freer, more expansive. Conversations deepen without collapsing into drama. You no longer oscillate between overgiving and exhaustion. Instead, energy flows symmetrically. This is what it means to enter the realm of energetic sovereignty, where your empathy no longer operates from survival but from awareness. You love without attachment, give without depletion, and sense without absorbing. The compassion remains, but it's refined into clarity. The effortless healer, the sovereign empath, doesn't need to try to heal. Healing becomes a natural byproduct of their presence. Your aura now vibrates at a coherent frequency that naturally harmonizes disharmony. When others enter your field, their nervous systems instinctively relax, their defenses soften, and their own self-healing mechanisms activate. This doesn't mean you're responsible for everyone's transformation. It means you're a catalyst. You demonstrate what healed energy feels like, and that demonstration ripples outward. The ancient mystics understood this principle long before psychology named it. They called it the light of presence, the state where one's energy radiates clarity without effort. Modern science might describe it as heart-brain coherence. I call it the natural emanation of integration. When the mind, heart, and energy body are aligned, healing ceases to be a task and becomes a frequency. The collective ripple effect. Here's what I observed across countless case studies. When one empath in a family system achieves this state of sovereignty, the entire emotional landscape begins to change. Without preaching or intervention, their coherence becomes contagious. Family members start communicating more honestly, tensions ease. Old patterns begin to dissolve. Why? Because your aura is broadcasting a new template, a living demonstration that it's possible to feel everything without being consumed by it. And it doesn't stop at the personal level. This radiance extends into communities, workplaces, even the collective psyche. When empaths rise into sovereignty, they contribute to what I call collective individuation, humanity's evolution toward greater self-awareness and integration. You, as a sovereign empath, are part of this evolution. You are a bridge between the unconscious and the conscious mind of humanity. You feel what others have numbed themselves to. You perceive what society represses, and when you integrate your own shadow, you model how the world can integrate its own. The trap of the savior complex, but even at advanced stages of empathy, one danger remains: the savior complex, the unconscious belief that you are here to heal everyone. It often hides behind noble intentions. You want to help, to uplift, to guide, yet the savior complex is still a form of ego. It centers your worth on other people's pain. I discovered that the savior complex actually blocks collective healing. It creates dependency instead of empowerment. When you rescue people from their lessons, you interrupt their alchemy. They may feel temporary relief, but the underlying pattern remains unresolved. True healing never happens through rescue. It happens through modeling. Your task is not to save others from suffering, it's to embody the truth that suffering can be transmuted. The sovereign empath doesn't carry others' burdens, They illuminate the path of transformation so others can carry their own. Modeling conscious feeling. The real mission of the empath is not to heal the world's wounds directly. It's to model what conscious feeling looks like. In a society that numbs pain and worships distraction, your sensitivity is revolutionary. You remind people that feeling deeply is not weakness, it's the gateway to authenticity. When others witness you staying grounded in the face of intensity, they learn, on a cellular level, that it's possible to do the same. Your emotional presence becomes permission for others to feel. That's how collective healing truly begins, not through one empath absorbing the pain of many, but through many individuals learning to feel consciously because one empath dared to stay awake. The evolutionary role of empaths. I believe empaths represent an evolutionary leap in human consciousness. You are the emotional innovators of the species, the ones developing the capacity to process complexity that others avoid. Humanity is moving from intellect-driven survival to emotionally intelligent awareness, and empaths are at the forefront of that shift. Your ability to sense, process, and integrate energy is not an accident. It's preparation. You are helping humanity learn to hold paradox, to balance feeling with logic, to merge sensitivity with strength. As more empaths step into sovereignty, the collective nervous system of humanity evolves. We move closer to what I envision as the conscious collective, a global state where empathy and awareness replace repression and projection. And it begins with you. Each empath who transforms their wounds into wisdom adds coherence to the entire field of human consciousness. Every time you choose presence over projection, authenticity over performance, love over fear, you tilt the balance toward awakening. The final insight, from burden to blessing. The rare empathic aura you carry was never meant to be a burden. It was meant to be a gift, one you could wield consciously once you understood it. I once wrote, "Your vision becomes clear when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens." For empaths, this awakening is the realization that your sensitivity is not a flaw, it's a function. Your aura is not a wound, it's a reflection of your inner wholeness. The journey from wounded to sovereign healer is not about becoming less sensitive. It's about becoming aware of your sensitivity's purpose. When you stop apologizing for your depth, you start using it as a force for transformation. You can feel deeply without drowning. You can love completely without losing yourself. You can heal others without draining your life force. That is the sovereign state of empathy. Emotions flowing through you, but not defining you. Living as a sovereign empath, this transformation requires courage. The courage to stop shrinking your light to make others comfortable. The courage to stop dimming your sensitivity just to fit into a numb world. The courage to be authentic, even when authenticity feels unsafe. The sovereign empath does not hide their gifts. They refine them. They don't suppress their emotions, they master them. They don't absorb chaos, they transmute it. And when you live this way, your presence becomes your teaching. You stop explaining your empathy and start embodying it. You become the kind of calm that others can trust, the kind of depth that invites truth, the kind of light that doesn't burn, but reveals. Because the world doesn't need more people numbing their sensitivity. It needs more people like you, awake enough to feel and strong enough to stay open. The legacy of the empath. When one empath reaches sovereignty, the ripple never ends. Generations heal through your example. Families transform through your boundaries. Communities evolve through your presence. You are not just one sensitive soul trying to survive in a harsh world. You are part of humanity's awakening. The world needs empaths who are conscious, not consumed. Grounded, not drained. Radiant, not rescuing. So let this be your reminder. Your sensitivity is not too much. Your empathy is not weakness. Your aura is not a curse. It is the bridge between consciousness and compassion. the evidence that love can survive even in a world that forgets how to feel. And when you stand fully in your sovereignty, you become the living proof that empathy, when guided by awareness, is not fragility, it is power.